So today we're making pickled Brussels sprouts. I got my sanitized jars, some thyme and garlic. We're going to add some red pepper flakes, some mustard seed, and I also added a little bit of pepper. Cut in half my Brussels sprouts, and I blanched them in boiling water for about 2 minutes. Now I'm going to fill my jars with the Brussels sprouts. And here we got sugar, water, apple cider vinegar, and some salt. Get that to a boil. And then once that starts boiling, we're going to add that into our jars. Alright, so the sugar and the salt all dissolved into the brine. Filled up our jars. Now I'm going to wipe the rims with a paper towel to make sure there's nothing that will get in the way of the seal. Put our lids and the bands on, and you just tighten finger tight, not all the way, because if you tighten it too much when you do the water bath, it won't work properly. You want the air to escape as it's boiling. So just finger tight like that. Oh, and I forgot, before we put the lids on, we're going to take like something that you can poke down there, move it around, get all the air bubbles out, and make sure you leave about 1 inch to a 1/2 inch of space to the top, so you don't want to fill your jars up all the way. Then we add them to the pressure canner, but we're not going to be pressure canning these because they're already acidic enough with the brine. We're just going to boil them for 10 minutes. That lets all the air bubbles out and seals the lid and sanitizes everything. And I'm not really going to go over with you guys like the ratio of water to vinegar and how much salt and sugar and all that. You guys can look all that up because every recipe is different. I'm just showing you the basics. That's about it. You can look up, the ratios you need for your recipe. This is just a basic way for, pickling vegetables and processing them for long-term storage. It doesn't need to be refrigerated. Just keep it in a cool, dark place for up to a year. And then when you open it, then you need to refrigerate it and eat it, within a month or so. So it's been 10 minutes. Turned off the heat. We're going to let those sit to settle for a few minutes. And I don't know if I mentioned it, you want to make sure your water is about 1 inch above the jar, so that way you have an equal amount of heat all around the jar. And it's got to be lifted up off the bottom as well. And you can see they're still kind of doing their thing a little bit. You're going to let these sit for about a day before you remove the bands and test the seal. So they're not sealed yet, but as they cool, that's when the sealing actually happens. And I can't really film while doing things, so that's why I'm pausing, just to let you know. So here are some mushrooms I did yesterday. So like I said, you remove the bands from the lid. You never want to store your jars with the band on the lid. You want to take that off and store them like this. And that's because if one of these does lose the seal and goes bad, that band can actually cause it to reseal, and you won't really know that your food went bad. By taking off the rings and just leaving this cap on, you can easily tell that they're all sealed. And one way I test is I grab it just from that metal lid, and I'm lifting up, so it's obviously sealed. And then once you want to eat some, pop it open, and then that's when you would put your band back on the lid and then keep it in the refrigerator. If one of these does not seal, you know, within the 24 hours that you're waiting for it to seal, you can still eat it, just keep it in the refrigerator. And I think that's about it. Store these in a cool, dark place for up to a year or so. I mean, you could do it longer than that, but for, you know, the best quality, eat them within a year or two maybe. Enjoy.